my channel, you guys. I'm gonna be doing a reaction to porn star Bonnie Blue arrested in Bali on shocking charges. Isn't this the same woman who pretty much, smashed hundreds of guys? Should I say allegedly, even though it's out in public? I'm just gonna say allegedly just in case, I guess. But yeah, far as my setup, you guys, I'm uploading shorts. You go to my YouTube channel, you can see I got a lot of shorts. Um, and I'm just doing different methods and stuff. So I'm uploading. I got like 100 shorts I gotta upload. So I'm busy with that. And I'm like, bro, why should I sit here? Because it's gonna take me like a lot of hours to upload these shorts. So I'm like, why should I sit here and just, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I can watch TV. That's cool. But it's like, bro, like, why not react to a video at the same time? You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to waste time. I want to get the content. And I'm gonna start doing this too because when I'm usually reacting, I'm in a perfect setup. I got my microphone. I don't have my microphone right now, so if my audio is sounding kind of whatever, it is what it is. But we're gonna make it work. Um, and that's just what it's gonna be. All right. So
Pornographic content creator Bonnie Blue was arrested in Bali for, yep, you guessed it, allegedly making explicit adult material, and in Indonesia that is a serious, serious offense. And if the reporting is correct,
so she got arrested for doing her job. It's not funny, but I'm saying like she got arrested for doing her job. But you can't do your job in, I guess, Bali, India, whatever he said. So I guess you can't do that type of job there. That's interesting. That's pretty much like Dubai when they be like, you can't bring, weed, like you can't smoke weed there. So I guess, you know what I'm saying? But shoot, I mean, free her. I don't got no issue with her. Um, that's crazy though. Getting arrested for doing your job is crazy because she was literally doing her job. Y'all heard what he said?
she could now be looking at 15 years in jail. We're going to try to make sense of the situation and the potential consequences with an international law attorney. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. All right, look, before we go any further into this, I don't want to talk about this, but I have to. It's happening. Open enrollment happening again. You compare the exploitative premiums, the fine print of health insurance. It is chaos. It is stressful. But here's the good news. Our sponsor, Crowd Health, is different. Why? Because its members fund each other's bills directly. If something big happens, you pay the first $500 and the crowd funds the rest. In fact, they have a track record of handling major events, including bills over $1 million, giving you the confidence that you need. Plus, health.com.
I'm the girl that rage baits, the one that takes your son's virginity and has no issue making your husband cheat.
But it's so annoying, like I have a shower, makeup, hair, and then it's within minutes, like completely destroyed. I've just been the players, got a very red eye.
Bonnie Blue, real name Tia Billinger, 26 years old, British pornographic performer, content creator. She is in a lot of hot water right now overseas because she was arrested in Bali for allegedly making adult material. And let me tell you, that is a big no-no out in Indonesia. Right now, it's being reported that violating anti-porn laws there could get you locked up potentially for 15 years in jail and hit with a...
I'm pretty sure she didn't know. I'm pretty sure she didn't know. I hope she didn't know. Shit. As in, I hope she didn't do it and knowing that it's illegal. Maybe her cameraman snitched on her because how did they know? Like, how can you know if somebody's smashed? I didn't think about that. Like, y'all got to think about that. Drop a comment if you feel like that makes sense. Like, if you really think about it, how would they know that she made the content? Because mind you, that's her job. So hopefully her defense is like, shit, she been made this content. You feel me? So unless the cameraman snitched because he didn't get a piece, it's probably wouldn't end up happening. Because like how would they know that you recorded the content there? And you can be like, if they be like, okay, because we seen our stuff in the background, AI. I'm like, what are you talking about? AI.
Fine of about 6 billion rupiah. That's around $360,000. Now, what exactly is she accused of doing? Driving around in a truck labeled, sorry to say this, Bang Bus, and picking up young men allegedly to create pornographic material. In fact, she appeared to post herself on that truck on social media.
Hey parents, remember when I said I was going to pick your sons up? I wasn't lying. Hi boys!
Now, according to reporting from The Sun and Australian news outlet 9 News, 17 men, mostly from Australia and Blue, were arrested by authorities as part of a raid on her studio. Now, while it's being reported that 14 young men were released, Blue was apparently kept in custody, as well as 2 other British men and 1 other Australian guy. But it was also reported that the 14 Australian tourists, they were hiding their faces from the cameras when they were caught. Like, they put their T-shirts on their faces.
Nah, nigga, don't hide your face now, nigga. You wanted a cat, so what you want?
And they were already interviewed by Indonesian authorities. Now, news.com.au is reporting that Bonnie Blue was released from police custody, but would be questioned by authorities over the next 2 days by immigration officials. So it seems the immigration officials and law enforcement work hand in hand. Again, this is all over allegedly making explicit pornographic materials. And according to The Sun, Indonesia bans the production and distribution of this kind of adult content, particularly if it involves children, although to be clear, there is no evidence that any minors were involved in any of this. Now, according to The Independent, police said that Blue's group were allegedly creating, quote, content containing pornographic or immoral elements. And according to the Badung police chief, who we're going to talk about a little bit more, came out and said it is suspected that the place was used by the alleged perpetrator to produce pornographic videos. What does that mean? Well, according to The Sun and the Daily Mail, police found a lot. By the way, this was interesting too. Apparently her Instagram account was seized by authorities too, because again, she is accused of soliciting teenagers over the age of 18 into filming these sex acts. And you have to wonder if it was videos like this that could be analyzed to be an issue for her.
Hey boys, tomorrow I want to ask you one question when you see the Bang Bus. Spend 2 minutes with me alone or double it and pass it on.
She also apparently said in another post, quote, hey boys, those who are going to schoolies and those that are barely legal cannot wait to meet you. I'm in Bali, so you know exactly what that means. Going back to the police chief here, the Badung police chief, Arif Batubara, told the media that the arrest came after someone alerted them about, quote, suspected pornography or the creation of indecent video material. Batubara told reporters that Blue was passed off to the immigration officials, that her passport was seized. Apparently, she was here on a tourist visa. There was an immigration source that told The Sun, quote, we will be deepening the investigation to check her activity during her time in Bali and work jointly with police. And regarding the other 3 men that were also detained with her, if they did not make commercial content, maybe that's not a problem. If they make commercial content, we could charge them. This is again according to this immigration source, who added, we could also check whether it has created unrest in the community or not. So the laws over there are very, very different from what we have here. And according to the Daily Mail, authorities also say there's a problem with the bus, that the bus was not legal because it was registered as being white in color, but was repainted dark blue. And apparently the vehicle tax expired as well. As for the 14 men that were released, Batubara said, according to the Daily Mail, quote, today, with assistance from immigration, we are releasing the 14 Australians who were detained yesterday for clarification and investigative purposes as witnesses. They are being released because they do not meet the criteria for further suspicion, as the case is still under investigation. But I mean, it looks like Bonnie Blue is in some trouble here, right? And to give you an idea of what we're talking about, how serious it is, and again, I'm going to bring on an international law attorney in a minute who has been to Bali, knows the laws there, can give us a sense about how serious this is. The South China Morning Post reported in an article last year that Bali took this very aggressive initiative against indecent acts, that there was 157 foreigners who were kicked out of the island for doing things. You have 194 people that were temporarily held at an immigration center who were waiting to be deported. So they have taken a very aggressive stance against indecent acts and activity and things of that nature. Now, I should also mention that Bonnie Blue is no stranger to controversy with the legal system. She was apparently banned from Australia last year after she allegedly planned to create pornographic content with 18-year-olds and make money off of it by posting online. And because she applied for a standard visitor tourist visa, and when on that you can't engage in paid work or commercial activity, her visa was apparently canceled before she even entered the country because of what she was promoting. There was even a change.org petition, by the way, that got thousands of signatures begging the Australian government to not let her come in. She was also accused, by the way, of faking her own arrest out in the UK, that it was a publicity stunt. And something else making the waves is that Bonnie Blue's former collaborator, OnlyFans influencer, Annie Knight, has spoken up. She spoke to Us Weekly and said, quote, "In my industry, anytime you go overseas, you have to be aware of the laws surrounding sex work in the country you're visiting. I always am super thorough with my research whenever I travel and make sure to be extra cautious. I'd never do my job in a country where my work is illegal, and I just would never risk myself like that. Honestly, Bonnie being arrested really didn't shock me. Bonnie went to Bali, a country where sex work is illegal, and despite knowing that, she still chose to do it and break the law.
But how you
Being arrested was always going to be a risk, and I did try to warn her, but she didn't listen."
But nah, she probably did know that because he's speaking about her recent stuff, her getting banned and stuff like that, which happened before this. She got to know something. So if she took that risk, then hey, that's on her. And she need to find another profession if she's going to if she's going to if she's going to go to different countries, then either find another profession or don't do the stuff at all. 'Cause yeah, they cracking down on that porn stuff. I ain't gonna lie. Like they cracking down on that. So those days are getting to be over. Give it.
And now she's experiencing the repercussions. That being said, it must be absolutely terrifying being arrested in a different country, and I really hope she's okay. And then again, when she claimed that she tried to warn her, she heard my warnings and she chose to ignore them, and it's hard to feel sorry for her. She made her bed, and now she's lying in it. Okay, so I have a ton of questions about this. I'm not familiar with the laws over there, what the real potential consequences could be, whether or not there are any international avenues or resources that could help her out. So let's talk about it. Okay, time to bring in David Tafuri, international law attorney. Whenever you have these kind of cases, he's the perfect guest to have on. David, thank you so much for taking the time. First of all, my understanding is you have spent time there. So you have spent time in Bali. What do people not realize about the Indonesian laws? I mean, this is really, really strict. What
It's also what the people realize, nigga. We don't realize anything. We don't know about them. You feel me? Ain't nobody checking for them. I'm just being real. Like we don't know about their laws, bro.
what do we not understand about their laws there?
Thanks, Jesse. Good to be on with you again. You know, Bali is in Indonesia. Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world. So across Indonesia, there are conservative values because of its Muslim background. But Bali actually is not Muslim. Bali is Hindu, and it's a mix of Hinduism and traditional Balinese culture and religion. As a result, Bali also is very culturally conservative, especially when it comes to public displays of affection. That is very much discouraged. When you're there, you're not supposed to kiss in public. Even holding hands in public for too long can be controversial. In Bali, obviously, it's not illegal, but it's frowned upon.
Are people, though, getting arrested for kind of indecent acts, whether it's, something extreme like allegedly making pornographic material or displaying certain, the way they dress or things of that nature? I mean, are people getting arrested? Are they being detained? Are they being criminally charged? Are they going to jail? Are they being deported? Explain to us.
Yes. there are previous cases where foreigners have been arrested for making pornography or distributing pornography. And keep in mind that the law that prohibits the making or distribution of pornography is an Indonesian law. So it applies across Indonesia. But in Bali, they are going to enforce that law because it comports with their traditional values.
Is she legitimately looking at 15 years in prison? I mean, 15 years in jail for something like this? If they say that she was creating, let's say, pornographic material.
Because, shoot, people got to understand those laws in different countries are way worse than American laws. And not only that, if you don't have American backing, that's even worse, meaning the people that's in power. If you don't got their backing, that's even worse because, their laws, people in other countries, their laws are way more strict than America's. America's strict too. Every law is strict, but they on some other stuff. And you're not from that country? Hell no.
With young men, I guess it would be even more aggravating if she was doing it for money, right? Putting it up online and monetizing it. Is she really looking at 15 years in jail?
I think she is. Now, here's a couple caveats. I think about the case of Chappelle Corby. I don't know if you remember, if your audience remembers that one, but she was an Australian woman in 2004 who went to Bali, and then they found in her boogie board she had put cannabis or marijuana. Allegedly, she denied that. And she was arrested for transporting marijuana into Indonesia, and she was sentenced to 20 years in prison. So this was a big case that got a lot of media attention. And one of the interesting things is that despite all of the media attention and pressure on Indonesia not to maintain such a significant sentence on her, they went through with it. And I think she spent something like 11 years in prison. She was ultimately released. But even after she was released, after 11 years or so, she actually had to stay in Bali for a few more years under probation. So I think her total time where she was not free to leave was something like 14 years. And so that's what Bonnie is facing now. It's a different crime, and pornography may get a slightly less harsh sentence than a drug crime, because drug crimes are especially frowned upon in Indonesia, and Indonesia is known to be very strict about enforcing its drug laws. But in this case, because also what she's been convicted of, or what she's been charged with, is carries such a big sentence, it is possible she could serve 14 years.
Now, to be clear, she hasn't officially been charged, but they're investigating here.
Right.
And I guess the question is, what are they looking at? So they apparently found all these materials, right, in the place where she was staying, which would look like somebody that is about to engage in sexual activities, potentially sexual activities on camera. Why are they looking at her Instagram too? Why did they seize her Instagram account?
Because if you look at her Instagram, she was putting up stories and videos from Bali where she was encouraging university students from Australia who are there right now during their break, the holiday break, to meet with her and to engage in pornographic activities with her that would be filmed. She's known to do this around the world, as you know, but what was interesting is she was using social media as a way to recruit people to engage in these pornographic activities.
So her defense would have to be, we never actually engaged in any acts, or if we did engage in acts, it wasn't filmed, or if it was filmed, it wasn't commercial, like we weren't monetizing it, or is it, hey, listen, if you're filming it and you're doing this, that's it. And I wonder if that, because I'm trying to understand, I don't know anything about the laws over there, which is why I want to have you on. I mean, what are ways that she could potentially get out of this?
You're exactly right. That would be her defense, that despite what I said on social media and the provocative videos that I put up, we didn't actually engage in any pornographic activities here, and we didn't film them, and we did not distribute them, which is what the law prohibits. Now, because they've seized her vehicle and they probably searched where she was staying, they may have found those types of materials. That's not clear yet. I'm sure they're looking through her phone, looking through her video camera and other recording devices to see what she actually recorded.
By the way, so I mentioned that she was released. from custody, but her passport was seized. She's transferred to the immigration authorities, who apparently work hand in hand with law enforcement here. They are going to be interrogating her, or will interrogate her, or have interrogated her for a period of 48 hours. What is going on there? What can be the product of that? Is she going to be removed from the country? I mean, how does it work?
Well, this law and also the drug laws both enable the Indonesian authorities to arrest and prosecute someone for violating the laws, or allow them to transfer them to immigration authorities so they can be deported. So her best hope is that she is deported, and she should want to be deported as soon as possible so she doesn't have to face any potential criminal charges related to violating this law. It's not clear if Indonesia is going to do that. Of course, if there's international pressure, especially from her home country, maybe they will choose to do that.
Is there an extradition agreement in place if she were to go back to the UK? Do they have to send her back to Bali to be prosecuted? Do you know anything about that?
Well, one of the things about extradition, as you know, is you cannot extradite someone from another country if the crime that they are being extradited for is not a crime in that country. That's generally an important concept of extradition law. So if what she did allegedly in Indonesia is not a crime in the UK likely would not extradite her.
Okay. Does it matter, going back to this idea about with the immigration issue, if this material was being put out there for commercial purposes? You know, we had an immigration source who said it also matters if this activity created unrest in the community. It seems like it's quite broad to suggest what could be violating Indonesian law or policy here.
That's right. And because of the way she went about this, again, going to bars and clubs in the heart of Bali and Bali's entertainment districts and filming videos and doing shots with young men, it might be arguable that she did create that kind of havoc in the community that would also be a basis for prosecuting her.
I always thought this was interesting. They released the 14 men. As I mentioned, apparently they were like trying to cover their faces as they're walking out there, shirtless. They have shirts on their faces. I don't know why they'd be released if they're potential witnesses in this case, right? Wouldn't they be interviewed and say, hey, listen, this is what happened? I was confused by that.
Good point. My understanding is they were released, but their passports were taken. So they're not going to be able to travel. Bali is an island, and without a passport, they're not going to be able to leave, at least not by airplane. And so that may be the reason why they were released on their own recognizance, but they could be called back in to be witnesses, and maybe some of them could be charged if they engaged in pornographic activities with her that were recorded for the purposes of distribution.
You mentioned other countries helping. Can the UK government get involved here? Not saying that they would or wouldn't, but is that something? What avenues, what tools, what resources could be used to help her?
Well, every country has an obligation to look out for the legal rights of their citizens when they are abroad. And that's part of what embassies are responsible for doing. Now, the UK embassy is in Jakarta, not in Bali. But UK may have a consulate in Bali. And obviously, it's possible for UK officials to travel to Bali. My guess is the UK diplomats in Jakarta have already been in touch with Indonesian authorities. They normally diplomats try to advocate for their citizens, but they also have to respect the local law. And if someone knowingly violates a law in a foreign country, it's hard for a diplomat to insist that that person has to be released because, again, UK doesn't want Indonesians violating UK laws while they're in UK.
Is it clear that this was a violation? I mean, like if somebody's traveling to Bali, whatever the purpose might be, would it be clear? Where would they find out information about, okay, these are the laws, these are how strict the laws are, this is what you can and cannot do? Is it clear? I mean, where would people even be able to get those resources and know whether or not what they're going to be doing while they're visiting could violate their laws? Whether it's, walking in somewhere, there's certain aspects you would imagine would be illegal, but you also have to be thinking, and I encourage everybody to do their own research before they travel abroad, but particularly in a country like this, is it clear how strict their laws are and what you can and can't do?
It's not always clear, although I would note that embassies normally have a page for the country, and they will explain the different laws that vary from the laws of the home country and warn people who are traveling to that country about not violating the laws. One thing that's also important to note is that it can be confusing when you're in Bali, because Bali is actually sort of this free like environment. It's very progressive in some ways for foreigners. There's a lot of drinking and partying and clubs and bars on every street, especially where she was doing this in the area of Kuta and Legian in Bali. And so you would see that if you were visiting, and you might think, oh, this is a very permissive environment, and think it's okay if you didn't know what the laws say.
Is this a real issue today? What do I mean by that? In today's day and age, there's a million content creators. It seems to me like a lot of times you go on social media, it's like, creating these outrageous situations, putting themselves in positions where they know it's going to go viral and doing things that might be outrageous, maybe potentially illegal. But do you see this as a real issue today where content creators may be going abroad and doing things and getting themselves in trouble for views, for clicks? This is not the first time you're going to hear something like this.
I think you're absolutely right. I think we can expect more stories like this as content creators push the envelope, especially in foreign countries. And it's a shot across the bow for content creators to remember to think about the country that you're in. And she picked one of the worst countries to do this, Indonesia, and also it would also be bad to try to do this in Middle Eastern countries that have Muslim culture, Muslim religion, and are also very conservative. So the Middle East, some places in Africa, and some places in Asia would be the worst to do this. If she had done this in the UK, in almost any European country, in the United States, this would not be considered a crime.
And real quick, her celebrity status, I mean, she's got a lot of followers, people know who she is. Does that affect this investigation? Does that affect the consequences there? Is there pressure on the government there to do or not do something?
I think it will create some pressure, and there will be a lot of attention for this story. It is obviously a sexy, interesting story, so I think we can expect more people are going to become aware of it, and it's going to be continually publicized with news stories and media outlets about it, and that will put pressure on Indonesia. Tourism is very important in Indonesia. Almost 5 million people visit Bali a year. The Bali economy is basically a tourism economy, so they don't want to dissuade tourists from coming. But then I look back at that Chappelle Corby case, the woman from Australia who was prosecuted for bringing marijuana into Bali, and even though there was tons of pressure from around the world, and especially from her home country, Australia, Indonesia did not give in.
I'll also say, if these allegations are true, not everybody's going to Bali to create pornographic content. So it's a little bit of a different kind of situation. All right, let's see where this goes. David Tefuri, thank you so much for coming on and explaining the situation to us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jesse.
And that's...
Yeah, man. That is crazy. That's some wild stuff. Possibly getting prosecuted for your job. But she should have checked the laws. And I'm pretty sure, kind of looking like she knew. She just thought she could get away with it. You should have paid everybody, or you should have sucked everybody up. Let me stop playing, man. But look, man, make sure you guys go to my website, letshelpyouggrownow.gumroad.com, and get my mixtape, Diary of a Scorpio King. I believe in me when they did it. $17. I got behind the scenes content as well. Also, you can become an affiliate to sell my mixtape, and you get 50% of commission, which means you get half of $17. Okay? Half of $17. So, that's $8.50, but now you're $8.50 richer. Other than that, you can go to my website, zodiacscience.com, where I got merchandise and stuff like that as well. So, y'all let me know what y'all think about this case, man. Do y'all feel like they gonna do anything to her? Do y'all feel like she did anything wrong? Do y'all feel like she knew? Y'all let me know in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out. Hey, stop what you're doing. If you want to make some free cash right now, scan this code, this QR code, and you'll be able to make some free cash. Before you go, make sure you scan this code. You'll be able to go to my website, letshelpyouggrownow.gumroad.com, to buy my deluxe or to get any courses to help you grow and monetize yourself. Scan now.
It's my motherfucking time. It's my motherfucking time. Don't you see me right now, baby girl? I'm on the grind. I ain't really got no time to waste time. Baby, I'ma shine. I'ma shine. I'ma shine. I'ma shine. I'ma shine, shine, shine. I'ma shine, shine, shine. I'ma shine, shine, shine. I'ma shine, shine, shine. Steady on my grind, though. Hey, hey, hey. Don't be wasting my time. I'm steady on my grind, though. Hey, hey. Don't be wasting my time. Throwing it back, just like that, just like that. She throwing it back, she throwing it back, just like that, just like.